into our final games here, and we've got the home team with the asterisk next to them, and Chuck has gone Chuck. Chuck has taken Valdosta and Ferris State. Not that I can blame him. And just so you guys are aware, there has been a little bit of feedback I've gotten from some of our other cohorts from the regional shows.
I'm sure
Mr.
JD's sticking something in there.
Mr. Dykstra and AC have both kind of put their neck out there and said, you know what, we like Minnesota State to pull an upset there. Now, Ferg, I'm going to start off with you, but Ferg, we're going to start off though with the other game first. Slippery Rock and Ferris. Ferg, do you give a Super Region 1 team any chance at Ferris?
No.
I gave you a chance to think long and hard about that.
Look, I've been wrong on Slippery Rock ever since the first round, and I will admit that. But man, this is like a whole nother like level right now. And Ferris is that one team that nobody wants to see. They're very difficult to defend. That's a load.
It feels like they're getting better each week, doesn't it?
Right. I mean, Rock is too, but Ferris is it's no. This is not going to be pretty.
Tony, what are your thoughts on this one? Is this a matter of Ferris just the train keeps rolling?
Oh my gosh, yeah, and that's not to disparage Slippery Rock. I mean, for as much as I've picked them a couple times this year and they've hosed me, but I actually still like what that program does on a week in and week out basis. I think they're one of the more consistent programs and reliable programs in Super Region 1. I mean, they're here. It seems like they're still playing into December pretty much every stinking year. So, I mean, they obviously have some things figured out. Now, with that said, Super Region 1 hasn't, fared particularly well when you get to this point of the tournament here in quite a long time. And again, for Ferris, this is getting somebody who doesn't have any familiarity with them, and that just doesn't bode well. I mean, if you got no clue of what to do with it, they're going to run right over you. So unless it's a 5 turnover type of game for Ferris, which they have not done this year, I don't see how Slippery Rock stays tight in this one for very long.
I think Slippery Rock was going when they saw the pairings, they went, "Oh, we'll fly." What do you mean, we'll fly? But Coach Poe, how do you see this?
Yeah, I don't see it going real well for Slippery Rock, if I can be honest with you. Kudos to them, great job making it here, but that Cinderella train is about to get derailed here on Saturday. Ferris State's going to handle business.
When I was watching the Slippery Rock game today, I was thinking, what are they doing that I think would give them an angle against Ferris? Certainly the athleticism piece, who's really up there, honestly, with Ferris. And with the way Trinidad's playing and everything else, I think they just need to find a way to not get knocked out in the first quarter. Because Ferris has got a good chance of doing that against some teams. And get yourself to halftime within range and see what happens after that. Slippery Rock's got a good defense, and they get after the quarterback. The problem is Coach Anise just doesn't really allow you to do that because there's so much other eye candy and things going on in the offense that you're busy, preoccupied with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I also have Ferris here. Now, as we go ahead and we move into Minnesota State, making the trip down to Valdosta. Ferg, I know that you have a lot of mixed emotions with regard to Valdosta. You have schooling there, but at the same time, they've caused you heartache. How do you feel about this game? Are you trusting your feelings from a coach up north, or how do you feel about this?
Yeah, well, this is a very complex relationship that I have.
Have you been on the phone with Coach Hoffner, giving him your thoughts about how they can beat Valdosta, given all of the past justice?
Oh gosh. Well, also though, I need these final grades to be coming out right, and if I'm on the line there, I don't need to be swaying in the wrong direction.
Definitely some mixed emotions there. I can understand that.
It is very mixed. Look, I actually looked at a couple of things when it came to Mankato, and I wanted to look at what happened in the games that they lost. And to me, it just seemed like those games they kind of had mobile quarterback. Also, teams were able to pass the ball a little bit more effectively, and Valdosta State kind of has like a lot of the pieces that those teams up north also possess that could give Minnesota State some fits. On the other hand, as physical as VUU is, Mankato's right there like with them, and as a physical team. So this will be another rock fight for Valdosta in the trenches. Where I'm concerned is Mankato being able to put up the points. I mean, we've seen them sort of limp along and not really put up a lot of offense at times, especially in the and so to me, it's kind of like it gives you the feeling of Miles. Miles round one, they didn't put up a lot of offense to be Carson Newman. They go to Valdosta, and Valdosta puts them away, relatively early. And so to me, I think I don't know. I think Minnesota State's really going to slow down Valdosta. Valdosta has played in close games just like Minnesota State has. I'm going to go with the Blazers. I'm going to go with a team I think it's a little bit more consistent, has a little bit more options to work with, and see the Blazers to the to the finals.
Oh, so does that mean you're going to be cheering for the Blazers as well, or is it just your pick and then who you cheer for could be otherwise?
It's just my pick.
Okay. Tony, the way he said that tells me everything I need to know.
Fair enough.
I'm Valdosta.edu. I am not VStateBlazers.com.
And now, Ferg, you probably recall that these two teams have played in the semis before.
Yep.
2012, back when Mankato had Adam Thielen, and Valdosta went up there and won. I want to say it was 35-19. Don't quote me on that number. It was something like that. But Valdosta took care of business up in the cold back in 2012.
There was 2012. I don't remember.
Yeah. Because that year Mankato had beaten Northwest Missouri State, and they also beat Mo West as well. Oh, there you go. I didn't realize what you were doing there for a minute.
Yeah.
So to remind everybody, our guy John Dykstra and also our guy AC, both are favoring Minnesota State. At least they were on Twitter. Maybe they don't really think that in person, but I'm thinking that's good enough. And John Dykstra makes an interesting kind of statement here in the comments. Real rankings, which would mean more like how we feel versus the criteria, maybe, would be Ferris 1, Valdosta 2, Mankato 3, Rock 4. I don't think that that's necessarily mistaken. I think that taking historical reference into account, you'd probably head that way, I think. That said, I'm not going to be taking Mankato, which I'm sure there's an applause that's happening the moment they play this in Mankato, because I joked around with Coach Hoffner at the end of the press conference and mentioned to him, don't worry, I'll pick against you guys for a fourth straight week. And, they totally get it. And it's a matter of, I just think that I think Valdosta's got a lot of firepower. And I think that they kind of use it as needed. But right now, Poe, when I look at this team, Poe, I kind of look at them as they're essentially a running football team that'll throw it to be opportunistic and to go ahead and get some splash plays. But I just think that they're going to be too much with in terms of speed. I think Mankato will give them some problems with the power run game and things of that sort. If Mankato can be within 10 points by the time we start the fourth quarter, oh boy, Katie bar the door, because Coach Hoffner and company know how to win games like that. Now, what's interesting, Coach Poe, is Coach Jackson and Brandon Anderson, his defensive coordinator, both were, defensive coaches in the Northern Sun during the mid-teens and went against Coach Hoffner. And so they're very familiar with what they're going to do, essentially offensively and how they go about things. So I think there's quite a bit of meat on the bone with this game. Now, Poe, do you feel that this Valdosta team is as good as we've been talking about, or does Mankato go in there and surprise them?
Well, shoot, you know what? Every time I pick against Minnesota State, they damn break my dang heart. Every time they find a way in the fourth quarter to win.
Well, imagine being me. You get to see him in person after you do that. But yes.
Yeah, well, someone's got to take one for the team, so I appreciate that, Witt. I appreciate you doing that for all of us.
I've definitely been doing that.
But,
no, that has nothing to do with that. Oh no.
I mean, every time I pick them or pick against them, they dang find a way to win. But I do think I think Valdosta, if the way they're playing defense and the way they've played the last couple weeks, is going to be really hard for Minnesota State to do some things offensively. It's going to force them out of their comfort zone. And then when you play really good defense and you're playing at home and your offense is multifaceted, right? Like you can establish a run and you can throw effectively, you become a really dang hard team to beat. And I think Valdosta State, they've played consistent. Yeah, and they found a way to win a couple weeks ago when they didn't play their best game. So I think when you're playing that well, you get a little bit of confidence about yourself. These games are all going to be tough. They should all be tight, close games. They should be at this point in the playoffs. But I think that gives Valdosta State an edge. So give me the Blazers in this one.
Fair enough. So the four of us take the Blazers. Chuck takes the Blazers. Two of our buddies, AC, goes ahead and he says Mankato in all caps. Come on, AC, we can do better than that. And then John Dykstra as well, our MIAA guy. So
apparently, you got my pick via telepathy.
Well, I'm assuming we're because you were hinting kind of at how much you liked Valdosta. Do you think that? You think Mankato?
I was.
Well, do you think that?
I'm just messing with you. You didn't ask me for my pick, but I'm just messing with you. I am taking Valdosta. My rationale is this: we talked when the brackets came out that when you looked at Super Region 3, Ferris actually had the most favorable path, in part because they had the week off and the level of physicality that they had to get through their side of the bracket really didn't ramp up until they got to the regional final. I think Valdosta benefits from that same type of scenario, whereas Minnesota State has had to play 3 straight physical games in a row, a couple of them on the road. Now they got to go on the road again. At some point, it's how much gas do you have in the tank? And so while I think Mankato's physicality would actually match up well with Valdosta, and that game would be real interesting, I just don't know if they're going to have enough juice left.
I did have a coach tell me that he thinks Mankato is going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Well, is this a curling coach up there?
A sitting D2 head coach told me that.
Oh, well, okay, that's different.
Yeah, he. So it's interesting. There's quite a bit of feedback about that game. But guys, as we go ahead and kind of start to close things out, I do want to go ahead and have on our list here Fox 17, Remy Monahan. Gosh, she's getting a lot of mileage here by me mispronouncing the name.
But
yeah, and Charlie Yeager, whose name I didn't butcher. Assistance there with some highlights. I really appreciate that. Charlie kind of went out of his way to go ahead and provide a lot of stuff to us, including some of the post-game presser. Much thanks. And the Heritage Bowl for some video, Valdosta with some of the post-game presser, The Rock with the photos and everything else. For those who are Cal fans, you didn't see much Cal stuff here. They actually do a show with their coach later in the week, so feel free to catch up with that on the YouTube. There was we had a question in here in regards to. Let me get here, guys. As I kind of Matt had a question: are we going to be doing preview shows for this week? Matt, there's only 4 teams left, so there isn't really going to be much of a super region preview to do when the super regions are done with. So, in essence, this will be the last show that we have until next Sunday. So you guys are just going to have to watch this one a few more times. Make sure you watch it. If you watch it on Facebook, then make sure you watch it on YouTube so we kind of get a hit with each one of those. See what I did there, guys? Might be different. Let's go ahead after we mentioned all that stuff. I do want to go ahead and give a quick, interesting shout out. Not everybody's going to remember this, but I certainly do. Beginning of the season, Minnesota State Mankato went ahead and on the back of their helmets, they put this sticker for our guy, Brandon Meisner. It's interesting that Brandon Meisner, our guy, has made it to the Final Four now. He's made it to the semifinals, not with Northwest Missouri State, but with Mankato. So he is on the back of all their helmets still. And I just wanted to kind of point that out because, you know, our guy B is still going through rehab and trying to get better and everything else with that. Buddy, we haven't forgotten about you. And wanted to go ahead. It seemed like a good time to kind of mention that again. So, you know, for those who don't have any team to cheer for, that certainly is something to kind of cheer for there. But for those who have not subscribed to our YouTube page, what's wrong with you? No. Go head on over to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe here. Guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue to try and have some good content on here. We still have our Elite 100 team that will be coming out, in future weeks on down the line. Who knows? Maybe we'll even get, talk with some of the people on some of the committees in football and talk to them about what the future of the playoffs might look like and things of that sort. So I really appreciate everyone, kind of going ahead and making time for us tonight. We've had a ton of engagement in the comments, and we're down to only 4 teams, but yet you guys are still very interested in our programming. And I had a lot of folks, guys, come up to me in Mankato and talk to saying, you know what, I really appreciate what you guys do, and I want to make sure I share that with everybody here. Poe, wake up! The show's not over yet. Guys,
I heard the same from both Ferris and Harding people, fans and staff yesterday.
Yeah, that's awesome. And guys, we're just going to keep on, doing everything, here that we can with that. And, we've got, I do want to mention here, Sarah Hodge is here. We'd love to hear more updates about Brandon. Sarah, the truth of it is, if I got to be honest with you, there really isn't much new to be said. With a stroke victim like our guy Brandon is, there isn't rapid changes. So right now he's doing physical therapy twice a week, trying to go ahead and get movement back on the left side, where his arm and leg are, to kind of further help out his situation going forward. But this is not something that there's a lot of quick changes with. He is getting better gradually. We would love to see him back with us this next season, but it's one of those things that none of us are in control of over that, unfortunately. But I appreciate you guys asking about him. I know a lot of folks ask me about it, and so when my guy Brandon, does go ahead and tune on in, I want him to be able to feel the love as well. So. Well, guys, let's go ahead and kind of wrap things up on that note here momentarily. Do you guys have any other kind of thoughts as we go into that Final Four weekend?
Looking forward to it.
Yep, look forward to it. Been a heck of a season.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna get going here before Poe falls asleep. Thanks, guys, for everything on the show. We'll see you at the games.